Welcome back to the World Championship Series, everybody. It's time for Game 2 of Group D. Joining me on the desk, as you can see, is In Control. And of course, Todd. I love having you guys on the desk. You are the best of what we have to offer here on the desk.
Yeah, I agree. I think
no doubt.
I think, to be honest, I've been doing an amazing job.
I think you have.
Yeah.
I don't know if people at home think that, but I do.
I mean, that's really all that matters.
On the desk, yeah, not so much in predictions, though.
Prediction.
We
I
just
believe
caught up
I'm
to Roddy.
tied with a couple of other people.
Roddy!
I think it's Todd.
Todd and Roddy!
Todd, yeah.
Yeah, I was always going to be bad, so I don't care. But he's Roddy, we should tease.
We'll show you guys
we
at
tease
home
Roddy, believe me.
where they are exactly in a little bit. Not now, but we'll check in with that a little bit later. But I'll tell you, we did check in with it just personally just now. And at the bottom is Jeff, Todd, and Roddy tied. And
What
at
a
the
place
top,
to be. What a great bottom.
To be at the bottom.
Rotterdam, Todd, and me? That's a Protoss. That's a party.
Three
That's a
Protoss
great
party at the bottom, but at the top we got the one Terran brother. It's Nathanius who leads in predictions so far here at the World Championship Series. He's top heavy in everything. Let's check in with the bracket as we are now going to the bottom half of the bracket. Is match number 2. It is ForGG versus iaguz. Korea versus Australia in a Terran versus Terran, which leads to a position to play against Lilbo in the winners match, which is just around the corner. Of course, we will play that shortly. This is a great match between the two.
TvT, one of our rare mirror matchups so far. We've been kind of, I don't know, lucky if you want to call it that to avoid that, but an interesting match as well. ForGG, a historic StarCraft II player and one of the big WCS guys, lived in Europe for a long time. He's of course Korean, but he's almost been absorbed outside of that. And then iaguz. iaguz is an Australian player. I'm told, by the way, I say his name wrong. Let's just get that over with. The Gaz. I'm going to call him Gaz from now on. Anyways, he's got a really strong TvT, and he's a fun player, by the way. We've had some awesome answers from him for interviews in the past. He's a spunky little exotic guy, and I'm excited to see him play.
Yeah, it's going to be a great Terran versus Terran series, but to open up, let's have a look at ForGG.
My name is Jisuba. I live in Germany. I play Terran. I have been pro gamer for around 8 years. I'm different than other player. I think I have some timing push since Brood War. When I was young, I want to be like Nada because I like his style, make many units, crush your opponent, and now very similar.
One of 3 players in Group D that is fighting for a chance to play at the global finals. He has to win it all. He has to be first place if he wants to go.
And what a prize. What a prize to have. I kind of unofficially want to say, I believe he's put the word out that he is retiring at the end of this year. He has to do his military service or just move on with life. And that means that this guy who's been playing always since Brood War, which he said in his interview, needs and wants to go out with a bang. Get to that BlizzCon. Play for all the marbles and leave a mark on the world for yourself. And you can see, look at how many games he's played at WCS.
ForGG is someone who for a very long time has prided himself with his Terran versus Terran. We have always talked about it. He doesn't just play mech. He's always attacking everywhere, hitting the north, hitting the south, dropping some
hitting the north,
hellbats.
hitting the south.
North and south.
Yeah. I guess weakening his opponent's economy and at the same time macroing perfectly. That's his trademark play, and he's definitely going to want to look and try and do that here against iaguz.
He's literally a monumental player.
Is he a super favorite to advance out in first place from this group, or do you say he's... Oh, where do you spot?
I would say it's contested. I really do think that while Lilbo's not necessarily known for his PvT, I think we've actually already seen ForGG trip up in Season 2. Again, I kind of go back to that a lot.
Yeah.
But Showtime. No, it was Gung Fu Bandit. Gung Fu Bandit tripped him up and actually almost
And then
got him out of
Bunny
there.
punched him in the head to knock him out.
And then the same season, that actually Lilbo beat Bunny behind this. So,
also Jaedong, not to discount him. Like, we saw a little bit of a short sighting in that ZVP, but that's kind of traditionally been his weak spot. His ZVT has always been quite strong.
All right, so it'll be good to see how well he does, because he goes up against the Australian, who's been getting better and better results for each season that goes by.
When I was a kid, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I just sort of gravitated towards pro gaming. I play SE2 competitively because there are a bunch of Protosses out there who are satisfied with themselves, and I need to teach them a lesson. WCS is incredibly important, seeing as I live in Australia, which geographically is about 10,000 miles away from anything interesting esports-wise. So being able to compete here is incredible. When I hear Poland, the first thing that comes to my mind is ancestry. Zugai is a Polish name. My goal for the grand finals is going to be to at least make round of 8. I made round of 16 last season, and so I want to do better.
Ethan Zugai, flip his name around and you get iaguz, joins us here today. And he's a character, and he's a really, really lovable person who's been making so many fans over the last couple of months.
He's always very modest in his interviews. Actually, it's very interesting. Every time he's like, I didn't expect to beat anybody, but I toppled my group somehow. Like, it's always really weird. Actually, so I went backstage to try and ask him how he was feeling this time. He's like, man, I'm so... Well, actually, he was like, I'm in trouble. And he didn't seem to be very confident against anybody here in this group.
I mean, this is a... I mean, look at his group. He's in a group with Jaedong, ForGG, and Lilbo.
It is a very tough group, but I actually happen to think he's got what it takes to make some dent here, and we haven't had our upset just yet. Like, Lilbo over Jaedong is not a super big upset, and we're due an upset, so maybe this will be the one. But iaguz also has, I said it correctly, I think, has very good TvT himself. Is it on the ForGG level? We're about to find out, but certainly it's going to be tough, because ForGG in the past has been a TvT sniper. So he's got his task at hand here.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at the map pool, the map vetoes that are coming in for this best of 3 between these two players. Terran versus Terran can play 2 ways. Can play mech or it can play bio. And the maps for this are going to be Coda, Cactus Valley, and Iron Fortress.
Big map in the middle there. 4-player map. We've seen this a couple times now. And in TvT, that can make for some really fun games. A lot of Doom drops end up happening because the open side of your main base is facing kind of null area. So it's very easy to get in there with a drop. And then Iron Fortress is a very wide open map. If we do get to that third map, I've seen ForGG do this a bunch. A lot of Blue Flame Hellions, maybe some Viking playing like a single Raven. It's kind of a cool style. On that map, it could be very strong.
What do you think about this map then? Oh, this map pool, sorry.
I feel like it tells us that ForGG might want to play mech and iaguz just try and play bio and get some drops in on 4-players map, try and make a difference, out-expand ForGG. Coda is going to be tricky. I feel like Coda is going to be really hard for iaguz to win on.
Why?
Because it's a 2-players map. It's like the best mech map. If you were to pick one map where you want to play mech on and kind of sit back and have a good time, drop some Hellbats, hit the north, hit the south,
hit the north and hit the south.
Yeah. He's got it. If he doesn't hit the north and hit the south, he might not win this game at all.
Where are you going, east and west? Not interesting.
Not in StarCraft, you don't.
No, you don't.
This is definitely a difficult series for iaguz, but he definitely has the potential to do it. We'll be checking in with the predictions in a couple of seconds to see where our commentators think this is going. So this is going to be an interesting one. As already mentioned, these two guys on the left-hand side are the bottom of the barrel so far. So let's see where you decided to go this time.
We're like snakes. We're ready to strike, though, from the shadows, like a stalker.
So, In Control has chosen iaguz, and Todd has chosen ForGG. So we got a difference between the two of you. One of you is going to be rock bottom.
Oh, you mean In Control has picked iaguz, and everybody else has picked ForGG?
Yeah, I do believe that to be the case. You know, my mom raised me to be a person that thinks outside of the box.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think a lot of you think inside the box sometimes.
Well, thinking outside the box, mate, has landed you 4 correct answers out of more.
Whoa! Which is, again, like I said...
I've got 1 or 2 more than you.
Striking position.
The sample is not big enough to
Do
make
you
deductions.
think that you're going to turn this around over the next few days?
Oh, it's already starting. Yeah. I mean, to give you
With
an
this
idea, I pierced through my fandom for Jaedong and picked Lilbo.
You did.
Who's French?
You did. Because if you stuck to your fanboyism inside, you would have been deeper
Ronald Reagan
than ever
is
before.
rolling in his grave at the idea of this. But it happened, and I knew it. It's because I saw the choice. Keep in mind, by the way, Rotterdam is on a 1-6, I think, slide.
He's on a big slide.
He's 1 of 7, so it's...
He's kind of like at the casino. He starts out well and then...
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's Roddy right now. Well, let's see how well this series is going to shape up, because for the casters for this one, it is the #1 and #2 Twitch streamers for StarCraft.
That's right. And we are ready to get into some Terran versus Terran action. I think it goes without saying I've been a ForGG fanboy forever, Roddy, but I would not mind seeing the Gimli Terran go ham.
I used to be quite a fan of ForGG as well until he decided to make his way over to the North American ladder and beat me 9 times in a row, Nate. Like, that kind of rustled my jimmies a tiny bit.
I just stopped playing the first time he beat me. It's like, nope, this isn't going to happen.
But at the same time, Nate, like, all jokes aside, that worries me a little bit. Sometimes I worry about the practice that ForGG is getting. He's streaming a lot, and whenever I see that he's streaming, he's often playing on the North American ladder. I think it's safe to say it's the weakest ladder compared to Europe and Korea. He plays a little bit on Korea, but I'm just kind of worried that he's not really getting that dedicated practice in there that you kind of need as a professional player to compete on a stage like this. That aside, I still think he's a pretty damn big favorite over here in this TvT series, because the last time I saw ForGG at an offline event was the Intel Extreme Masters at Gamescom, and he almost took out Innovation, so...
Yeah, if there's one thing he's good at, it's TvT, and that's the weird part about him, is he is the easiest player to study, period, but he still manages to, you know, put up a good fight here and there. His big result, of course, coming in DreamHack last year. But let's see who's going to take this series as we are loaded into Coda. And in the bottom right position of the map, we have our blue Terran player representing Team Millennium. He is ForGG.
And on the left top side of Coda, we have, of course, the man hailing from down under. He's representing Root Gaming. It is iaguz. He's getting the support. That Polish last name helps.
Yeah, he's, you know, he brought out the shirt we had in the round of 32 when he came to play.
Of course.
And
you don't disappoint Carmen.
And the thing is, even if ForGG is supposed to be really good at TvT, iaguz has already managed to push through what you could argue would be the most stressful group he could have maybe ever played in. That was having 2 series against Haas.
Yes. He's probably still recovering from that one mentally. Every now and then he wakes up in the middle of the night all sweating. He's like, oh, where are the proxy stargates?
Cold sweat, you open your window, you look outside to make sure there's no pylon in the trees outside.
Exactly, those things haunt you, Nate. But this is an incredibly tough group, of course, with Jaedong, with Lil Bao, who can be a little bit cheesy as well in PvT, but that's nothing to worry about for iaguz right now. He has to focus on this series, and he's going up against someone that is known to be a TvT expert for the longest amount of time.
Yep. Terran versus Terran over the course of the last year, you know, there was that period where the majority of games actually ended within 10 minutes. The players just had such sharp build orders that you could get an advantage that fast to just win. But nowadays it's more like, okay, we're going to open aggressively still, but it's going to be a little bit more focused around the mid-game play again. You know, those 2 base drops. We do see some more of the longer TvTs creeping out there, and I'm expecting to see ForGG do what he does best, you know.
Yeah, it's
Reaper,
funny.
Hellion, Viking, standard mech.
It's absolutely funny that you remember that period. I kind of forgot about it, but
I have nightmares about
TvT
it,
has
actually.
always been you know, one of the most popular mirror matchups out there. But there was a solid 4 or 5 months last year where almost every single game we casted just ended between 9 and 11 minutes.
Oh, it was
Both
brutal.
players, they just ignored each other's medevac in the middle of the map. I'm gonna do economic damage to you, and you're gonna do it to me. We'll see who does it better. And then one person ends up losing 3 SCVs, and the other guy lost 15, and that's pretty much the end. But we kind of moved past that, you know, it's kind of a universal gentleman's agreement among all Terrans, and people just got better and better in dealing with it, cut a couple corners here and there. And I think it's safe to say right now the matchup is in an interesting place because of everything the boys just said at the desk as well. There is some mech, there is some bio, it's kind of personal preference.
Yeah, TvT has always been a matchup of, you know, choice as far as you can pretty much open any way you want and move into, you know, either bio or mech very freely. And it makes the momentum that you get from the early game the most important part because you still want to do a bit of damage to slow them down. We see the build orders and openings shaping up and constantly varying, but most people always head towards the same thing. You want to get that bit of early map control and just have presence. But looking at this series, already ForGG
if they both
in an
hop up
interesting
there,
position.
Yeah, there's only a single Reaper there. iaguz is paying attention on the money there. Small things like that do really matter. If he ends up losing that Reaper, this is becoming a very ugly early game immediately because then it's 2 Reapers against 2 Marines. So far, excellent control by ForGG, of course. got an SCV, got a Marine, and hops out of there. But imagine if iaguz isn't paying attention then,
Yeah,
and he loses that Reaper.
Oh, that's where things get ugly really fast. Of course, the Reapers regenerate their health, so they have a lot of capability to just scale in terms of their value if they can pick off forces in the early phase of the game. But I also like that because of that he built the command center on the high ground, so iaguz didn't really make himself that vulnerable in his opening.
There is a supply depot there, but the Reapers will sneak through. Now Terran players finally know how annoying Reapers can truly be, Nate.
Yeah.
You think you have SimCity, but you don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, just they used to give me nightmares thinking about Legacy of the Void Reapers, man. Trying to catch those with workers is a real nightmare.
Rocket jumps, it's a real thing.
Yeah. So for Terran versus Terran, I'm kind of liking this. iaguz actually opening up with Hellions. I personally like the Hellion Viking openers a lot. Just gives you a lot of mobility, and the fast medevac as well is going to be his way to get aggressive. And ForGG looks like he might actually go into, it could be Banshee or Raven. Both pretty suitable options. He's got more money for a Raven, but he'll actually just go straight into Banshee.
Cloak Banshee even. Might still follow up with the Raven, or maybe a Viking into a Raven, just to keep track of a medevac or a potential Banshee by iaguz, but that's most likely not going to happen. This is the first time that iaguz hops into the main base. He's going to get a single SCV there. That's very nice. And above all, he saw the starport, he saw the tech lab rotating as well. And that's a massive scout. Look at this Reaper doing work, Nate.
Yeah, I really like this for iaguz because he can throw up this engineering bay that he has building, get 2 turrets and a Viking to follow up his medevac as soon as he can afford it, and then still put pressure on. And you actually want to wait for ForGG's Banshee to leave his base, and then he has almost nothing that can actually defend inside of his main.
iaguz has floated this command center to the low ground though, so he does have to worry about 2 locations in the near future. This Banshee is gonna stay at home for now. ForGG wasn't born last night, Nate. He knows what these builds are capable of as well. Did he just miss all those Hellions? Yeah, oh, it's a fake out as well. I think that medevac is empty, correct?
No, he's got 6 Marines inside of it. He has the Viking on the way back home too, so these Marines are going to trade out. Of course, the SCVs will need to be pulled since that medevac healing will do a lot, but Hellions are going to run by into the natural at the same time, getting a couple of SCV kills to start things off.
Man, this is very solid, I think, by iaguz. A couple of those Marines are still alive as well in the main base. Banshee and the tank making their way over to the low ground, but iaguz, the Australian Terran, I think this went pretty damn solid and created a 5-worker advantage for himself.
Yeah, I do really like this quite a bit, especially since he has the Viking out now, and with those missile turrets, it's all about just being in a good position to make sure the Banshee doesn't hide just outside the range and pick off SCVs at the end of a mineral line.
Now, I've seen a couple of TvTs from ForGG where often he takes a little bit of economic damage here and there, but then he marches across the map with 2 tanks just because he starts producing tanks so much quicker than most of his opponents. Is this something that iaguz has to worry about right here and right now?
Well, the Vikings are definitely going to help him hold that air control, but if he does push the front of the natural, it's a vulnerable point. I'll give you that, Kev. Especially since these 2 tanks are starting to squeeze out a little bit.
These Hellions are in the medevac right now, so there's a good chance that iaguz will once again do some serious economic damage over here. The SCVs line up, take out 1 Hellion, but eat a lot of shots from Hellion number 2.
And this is really distracting because ForGG wants to try to do damage across the other side of the map. He's even moving his Marines across, but this medevac, with this, he can just micro and style on him for days because he has the Vikings, he's got the Raven coming out, and with air control, he can prevent the tanks from sieging up against him.
I am still a tiny bit worried. SCV is being pulled once again. ForGG took a lot of economic damage over here, but he should be able to do a lot of economic damage in return.
Yeah, he needs to. He's down 12 SCVs right now.
He sieges very far away, Nate. In range of the command center, but not in range of the SCVs. I'm kind of surprised there.
That's what the Marines are for. He's just trying to cut off the
tank. If these Banshees get the tank, that would be so massive. ForGG really wants to get it. He gets a lot of shots off.
No, it's so close. He kills the siege tank. iaguz does not have a zoning tool to get rid of these forces. Man. His natural command center is going to die.
Oh my god, he's not repairing it at all. iaguz, you need to repair it ASAP, and he's going to be able to save it for now, but of course at the cost of a lot of SCVs.
I think he might still lose it anyway. He's taken so much pummeling. A Banshee comes out for iaguz, but not even pulled away in time. The Marines managed to pick it up. He gets a scan, and yeah, I guess it's nothing.
There wasn't even cloak on the. There wasn't. I guess high ground vision. I guess is very important there. ForGG is just cleaning up over here, man. GG is called, and ForGG kinda tells iaguz right now, you can kill a couple SCVs. That's fine. I'ma kill everything that you have.
I think that the way that plays out, if you just, it's really tricky because he's trying to micro to kill the Banshee, but he really needs to get SCVs to repair the tank. That tank is
everything.
What holds it together.
Yep. Because also there was no more high ground vision for.
And he did so much damage on the other side of the map with that Hellion drop.
He was up 16 workers.
Yeah, all he needs, and that's a scenario where it's okay for him to pull some SCVs onto the tanks and Marines to help defend against that, because he just needs to buy some time.
Very explosive game number 1 over here. We were reminiscing a little bit about the old explosive days of TvT, where games are sometimes very short. And game number 1 was very short, but game number 2 is going to be played on Cactus Valley. That's a much bigger map, and that one will be coming up after this very short commercial break.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the World Championship Series round of 16. This is Premier League, and ForGG is up 1-0 right now against iaguz.
Yeah, it's kind of unfair for iaguz, right? Because he was doing pretty damn well in game number 1. But in the end, you look at it, it's like, ha, easy win for ForGG. You know, 12 minutes, clean victory. But that wasn't actually all that clean. ForGG was extremely committed to that push that he made across the map. It's very weird to call it an all-in, but he pretty much had to do crucial damage. Otherwise, he would be so far behind that it would be an almost impossible task for him to crawl his way back into that map. But in the end, it worked out in standard ForGG fashion, what I see him do so often in his matchup, Nate. Just march across the map, contain, and win.
Decision making from this guy is one of the reasons why he is one of the top TvT players, period. In the bottom right, playing for Team Millennium, he's up 1-0. He's ForGG.
Of course. Looking to avenge himself more than anything after the disappointing run that he had in Season 2. iaguz didn't really have a disappointing run in Season 2, but he wants to go further. I already said it. It is iaguz. Very good at that, Nate.
It's all good, Cap.
He said it in one of the interviews, that's kind of what I meant, where he said, you know, I've been in the round of 16 a couple of times now already. Made it once this season, made it once in the previous season when it was just WCS America, or even 2 times. He's like, you know, it's great, it's awesome, and obviously I'm proud of where I'm going, but I want to go further. I want to take that next step, you know, maybe even join Petraeus in the round of 8.
He wants to cross that threshold and reach the next level. As we've had, you know, some pretty interesting results so far in the round of 16 here at the Season 3, you know, quote-unquote finals, I guess. We're kind of getting there.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing that I didn't really think was too big of a deal, especially as we also get closer to the cinematic reveal for Legacy of the Void.
Only 91 hours left.
Only 91 hours left.
But I just wonder what's going to kill the Ultralisk this time.
Yeah, I would like to see a Viking get graviton beamed now. There needs to be landed Vikings in every cinematic.
What I would love to see is just like an army of Zerg running towards the Protoss and one Zealot standing in the middle. He's like, ah! And then he shoots up his side blades and he cuts everything in half.
Yeah, or one Zealot getting attacked by one Zergling and then screaming, I cannot hold.
I can get behind that as well. That would be kind of cool. And then like a bunch of Dark Templars show up that you can't see in the cinematic but will kill that Zergling.
Actually, the entire cinematic is just a bunch of Zerg units sitting there and then they all just die. It's like, there you guys go, the ultimate Protoss army.
There's this run up to this force field that you can't actually see and slides them in half. You know, it's like when you put 3 Dark Templars in a hold position on the ramp, that's the most beautiful force field you ever see. The meat grinder force field.
Just starts like this great, beautiful like rush of Zerg, and then it just hits a wall and it all gets sliced in half.
Yeah, definitely excited for it, man. The cinematic videos are always phenomenal. Either way, we are loaded into Cactus Valley as a second map in this TvT. Of course, the winner will move on to play against the French runner-up of Season 2, which is Leobao. We're spawning vertical, Nate. Talk to us. Cactus Valley vertical position in a TvT?
I mean, Cactus Valley is... This map will make the natural very difficult to defend for iaguz. He's opening up with a faster factory this game. So this Reaper can dance around a little bit since he doesn't have anything super fast to handle it just yet. But the position of his natural, if ForGG does any type of tank push, and actually really nice grabbing that SCV there, but any type of tank push, he can siege this low ground area outside the natural, and then it becomes really difficult for iaguz to defend because he has to go around the natural to do that to ForGG.
This Reaper is in a little bit of trouble though, Nate. These Marines starting to corner it in, and this time this Reaper is going to fall immediately, so that's a very nice pickup for iaguz. I was about to say, Nate, I feel a little bit better about myself because every single time I run into ForGG, he kills 2 probes, and that's absolutely not supposed to happen, but for some reason it happens. And now I see him in WCS, and he's still killing a couple of workers, but this time he did end up losing that Reaper immediately, so that was very good Marine positioning by iaguz. That's very nice. It's small things like that that just give you some momentum, you know, because you know it's very hard to kill a Reaper with Marines. When you do it, it's like nice, you know, solid.
Yeah, he still needs to be careful though. The cool thing for ForGG is that despite the fact that he loses the Reaper, he still has all the information immediately, whereas iaguz did not quite get that as fast as he may have otherwise wanted. In fact, he hasn't seen the main base or natural of ForGG, period. His SCV just hit the last base in the southwest, so he knows, okay, you're in the bottom right. I have no idea what you're doing aside from the fact that you opened with a Reaper.
What do you think? What is he going to do with the mine, Nate? Is he going to put it in a very cheeky position?
I would like him to do that. The thing is, if you don't open with a super fast Viking, you can put the turrets, you build your 3 turrets normally, and then you put the mine to cover that area where your turret has vision but can't quite hit it.
And that's kind of normally where the Banshee wants to go. It's like you look at the turrets like, all right, I see where the sweet spot is, and then suddenly you fly into a mine.
And someone like ForGG would get a lot of practice like this playing so much on Europe over the last couple of years because Bunny is one of the best Terran players. When I watch his TvTs, he will find that spot. You'll have like 10 missile turrets, but don't worry, there's at least one spot he'll find that he will be able to kill a dozen SCVs in.
The mine for now is just outside of the natural for ForGG. He of course has the low ground already, so he has to defend 2 locations at once against his aggressive opening from iaguz. iaguz also already has his first tank on the way.
So
a single Marine is going to take the bait over here. He's taking one for the team.
I actually really like that. The Banshee's going to show up. Cloak is just about done now, so can use this high ground position.
Oh, Scan might be able to kill it now, actually. Scan should be able to kill it. Does he have energy, though, Nate?
It doesn't look like it. There's 43 energy on one orbital, 34 on the other. She actually cannot attack the Banshee.
Oh, man.
Lost all his Marines, and this means this... Well, okay, well, just walked into range of the missile turret. There's another one.
Scan should be enough now.
Okay.
Well done.
He still killed a lot of Marines with that and even forces this Viking to land in a cinematic style.
But I mean, he's the head in workers, though. He has a much quicker command center. I kind of feel that this was very okay for ForGG because I feel that iaguz had to do more with his opening than he actually got done.
We can look at this in the context of the last game where ForGG was in a similar spot with less workers, but the faster tanks allowed him to make that push. I still don't think it's going to be easy in this scenario, but he has the option to do a 2-base pressure the same way ForGG did.
Yeah, iaguz lost all of his Marines as well, though, and I think that's a little bit of a problem. Like, tanks are good, but if tanks are completely naked, then they are not that good anymore.
Yeah, I'll also give you that. It's a very dangerous position to be in, especially because he gets that natural so much later and really can't afford to take any more shots with those missile turrets.
He's eating quite a few shots here and there. I think a single scan right now should be enough for this one Viking to pick up this Banshee as well. And if iaguz still had any ambitions to make a push like that, I think after losing 2 Banshees, it's very unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting something for his money, for his investment into this initial Banshee. If the Viking follows it, should die. Cloak will run out really soon.
Yep. That's actually very smart there by ForGG not to scan anymore because he probably felt like, hey, I think you're going to run out of energy real soon anyway.
Yeah, usually it's if the Banshee goes straight to your base.
Cloak, by the way, there's no missile turret over here for iaguz, while Cloak has just finished up for ForGG. There is a Raven more than halfway done, as Funk is pointing us out. Does he even have an eBay, Nate?
He actually doesn't have any Marines now. He was building add-ons with all of them.
If ForGG would know what we would know right now, then he could just... Oh my god, iaguz is in so much trouble, Nate. He didn't expect this Banshee follow-up from ForGG at all.
Yeah, he was so distracted trying to do damage with his own, and now he has this Raven, but just go outside the range of the auto turret. There's no Marines to actually defend. There's no Viking on the map. ForGG might actually just kill him with a Banshee.
Yep, that single Banshee is going to be a commander, I'm telling you right now, Nate. It might actually be a commander already.
Reach for the stars, Roddy. Oh, yeah. This Banshee had big dreams, and she made them come true. She did not let her dreams be dreams.
Or memes.
Neither or. And now the rest of these Marines are going to die. These tanks are helpless. They cannot climb on top of each other.
Oh my god, second Banshee shows up as well, so even that first Viking that will eventually take care of one Banshee. Look at the amount of damage that has been done already. 18 SCVs and a siege tank. Another tank is starting to run quite low on HP. It won't die, but the amount of economic damage that ForGG just did is absolutely ridiculous.
22 workers versus 43, and ForGG has a tank lead now because he was able to pick off a few of them. And with the air superiority, it could become really complicated. That Raven doesn't have much energy for iaguz. No point defense drone.
Was iaguz a little bit too tunnel visioned on his own aggression and the tanks that were running around in the map that he completely forgot about a potential Banshee follow-up from ForGG?
Yeah, he did fly his Banshee by that starport with the tech lab on it, researching it. So I'm going to go with what you were saying. He definitely tunnel visioned a bit on it. It's not like it's supposed to be undoable, but his follow-up was just a little slow. He got supply block last game. This was the same reason why he didn't have a Viking to deal with the Banshee then. And now he just has less forces. He's not even defensively sieged up. And ForGG might just kill him right now.
Yep, one tank falls immediately. The Marines fall as well. And ForGG advances in very convincing fashion to the winner bracket match. And that went so much better for him than in Season 2, Nate.
I mean, ForGG just bopped him, man. He didn't do anything particularly crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. A performance of a lifetime there for ForGG. Comes in and just 2-0s instantly. Very, very well played there.
Yeah, I thought game number 1 had a little bit of parity there. I think iaguz had some opportunities and some chances and ended up kind of getting away from him. But game number 2 was pretty straightforward. Like the Banshee from iaguz was doing okay, but then he just wasn't prepared at all, as the guys pointed out, for the counter Banshees.
This is kind of what we expected, though, I feel. Like, unless you somehow expected the upsets to continue somehow, but there can be an upset in every single series. Sorry, Jeff, for your prediction. So not too surprised personally to see ForGG kind of deliver in TvT, because that's what he does.
Yeah, in a series like that though, surely iaguz is going to be disappointed. Absolutely, right?
I mean, of course, but I think it's a little bit easier for him to accept this match, where it's like, okay, it's ForGG, it's TvT, he's a monster in this matchup, and while iaguz has very good TvT, I think he kind of brings home the bacon in the other matchups a little bit more.
Well, he's going to need to. He's going to have to play against Jaedong in tomorrow's game. That leads us to the bracket now, where we have a winners match determined, which is just around the corner. It is the two Millennium players going head-to-head. Lilbo takes on ForGG for a position to play at the playoffs this coming weekend. It's a fantastic matchup we have, Todd.
Yeah, big match here for both players. Remember, but that these are two players that need WCS points quite badly. So, I mean, even whoever, I guess, loses, he's still going to have a chance, even though there's still going to be that chance to advance here from the group stage. It's very important to come out here, I think, in second place to hopefully make a second place finisher rather than a first place finisher, because this should be easier.
I mean, this I think we've seen some fantastic games today, but this promises to be a pretty good one as well. Yeah,
it's going to be a PvT, and I want to say this is our first PvT.
Yeah, I think it is today.
Entire round, so it's going to be a little bit fun that way. ForGG plays very aggressive, and of course, Lilbo, one of the stars of the non-Korean scene right now. He needs to do it in this matchup. We know that he's struggled in PvP. He gets it done in PvZ. Can he do it in PvT?
Yeah, it's going to be a great game, and that's just around the corner. We're going to take a very, very quick break, and when we return, which player is going through in first place from Group D?